Ooh, a very interesting question today. Thank you so much. So, we're going to talk about, this is the question. I have a business I want to launch, but I can't seem to pull the trigger and I just get stuck on the research and planning phase. Any tips for getting started? Why, yes, I do have tips for getting started. Hey, if you don't know me, I'm Anita. I'm an artist. I run a stationery company, which I illustrate all the stationery for. And I'm also a happiness coach and researcher. So I can answer questions on all of those things and anything else that you fancy asking. I'll give it a go, right? I'll give it a go. So I had a little think about this and I wrote some notes. Okay, so if you are starting a business, right, hang on, sorry, let's do a little bit of admin, a little bit of sugar and salt admin. I just need to tell you the highlights. So, Tiny Hug Club, my stationery and pin club is closed. It's closed for April. We sold out. Thank you so, so much. The pin only subscription is open now, open right now. And I've actually done a little rebrand. I've given it a name for the first time. Instead of just calling it the Pin Only Club, I'm calling it I'm calling it Silly Little Pin Club because that's how I've been referring to it and I like to be silly. So it's just a little pin club to have some fun. It is the same enamel pins that I design for the bigger stationery box each month. So please don't just subscribe to both because you will get duplicates. But that's very fun. Okay, right, on with the question. So I have broken it down into what I believe might be the 5 things. Is it 5 things or is it 4 things? It's 4 things that may be keeping you stuck. So you've got this business that you want to launch, you want to do some research, and this could obviously apply to anything, a project that you're working on in life. So the things that we're going to talk about: procrastination, self-confidence, overwhelm, and time management. And I believe these are the 4 things that can be keeping you stuck when you really want to be working on this project and get it out into the world, but you're just not and you don't really know why. So let's drill down into them. And these are 4 very big topics, by the way. So if I talk about anything today and you want to talk about it more, because I could make a whole video on each 4, of course. So we're just going to stay kind of surface level, but I think it's going to be useful to talk about. But let me know if you want a deep dive. So procrastination. So a little bit of procrastination, okay, is normal. I feel like we all have to deal with a little bit of procrastination. So one of the things I said to myself is I'm not going to make these vlogs in my pajamas. I'm going to put on something branded if I don't happen to be wearing that. And do you know what? That's such a tiny barrier, but sometimes it will make me procrastinate because I'm like, well, I love illustrating in my pajamas, in my dressing gown, getting all cozy. And I'm there and I'm like, oh, I need to make the vlog, but I'd have to get changed and it's cold and I don't want to. So I think a little bit of procrastination is normal. But what we need to train our brain in the habit of is when our brain says go, we go. So a little bit of procrastination is okay, but I feel like this is deeper than that because you've said that you're just not getting started on the project. So procrastination is often confused with a lack of motivation. So we actually always have motivation. We always have motivation to do certain things. We just don't have motivation to do the things. We don't always have motivation to do the things that we want to be doing, and that is what we call procrastination. So if this project does not excite you, if this project, business, whatever you're working on is not the thing that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning and be like, oh my God, I cannot wait to get this out into the world, then I would start by asking, is it the project for you? What are you motivated to do in your day? So businesses are hard. I share a lot of behind the scenes of the business, and of course I want to share the fun stuff, the exciting stuff, and so much of it is that, do not get me wrong, but I think that myself and other creators, we don't want to share the doom and gloom. We don't want to come on here and just have a good moan. Maybe we do, but we try not to, right? Because I feel like you wouldn't really like this channel and my socials if I was always just moaning all the time. So perhaps in that is the misconception that it's a little bit sugar-coated, that, you know, having a business, doing whatever your project is, your artistic project, your creative project, maybe it's all just sunshine and rainbows and everyone is loving it all the time. Just had to blow my nose in, so I did do a little pause. But the reality is, running a business is hard. Doing any big thing is hard. There's going to be challenges. So let's take Sugar and Soft, my illustration business. If I did not love illustration, I would have given up on my business a long time ago, because you need an underlying passion, I believe, to get you through those hurdles. And, if you're having a lot of trouble just even getting started working on it, maybe it's not the idea for you. Maybe there's something else that you should be doing. What are you spending your time doing? What are you motivated to do? What comes really naturally and excites you? Is it a certain type of sport? What are you doing? What are you interested in? Is it a certain type of art? Are you doing this business because it is your passion, or because you kind of feel like you should? I have a friend, and she is so talented at drawing photorealistic art, pencil sketches. So it's like she could take a photo and she could pencil sketch an exact replica, like such an amazing talent. And she always says to me, like, I want to start a business, I want to be doing this. And I'm like, yeah, you should, because you're so talented. But she hates it. She doesn't enjoy it. Which is, I feel like that's quite rare, maybe. I don't know. But she has this talent and she just does not enjoy it. So do I think that she should actually do that as a business? No, because she would be miserable. So is this the right thing for you? I think is the first thing. Why are you procrastinating? Why are you not excited? And maybe it's because there's something else that you're more passionate about, that it would be easier for you to get started on. Or maybe it's one of the other things, because overwhelm is another reason why we procrastinate. Self-confidence is another reason why we procrastinate. So let's talk a little bit about self-confidence. Sorry, this vlog is going to be a little bit stop-starty, so I always try and record them in one go. I don't edit them at all. I've got a little bit of cold, so I have to stop to blow my nose. So it will be a little bit stop-starty, I guess, today, because I don't want to subject you to listening and watching me blow my nose. No one wants that. But before that, I do just want to mention a really quick thing on procrastination. So the other side of it is that we're just not used to going like starting when our brain tells us to. And what you can do to strengthen these neural pathways, one of the things you can do is you can turn your shower to cold at the end of your shower and have a cold shower. People do cold plunges as well, for a similar reason, but that's not accessible to everybody. So you can add a little shock of cold at the end of your shower. So people do this for different reasons, and there's arguments within the health community, I think, whether this is very beneficial for your health or doesn't really do anything. But it is beneficial for getting ready to go when your brain says go. Is building up that muscle. So that's just a little habit you can get into. When I was in Thailand, there was a very cold swimming pool that I would go and swim in every morning, and it really did help. Doing that first thing as well. First thing is such a good time to do things like this, because the gateway to our subconscious is a little bit thinner, so we can have more influence on our subconscious. And I was getting into that freezing cold pool every morning. And it was good. It was good for me saying, okay, when I decide something, I am the boss and we do it. So moving on to self-confidence. So this is, of course, when you really want to do a thing, but you do not have the self-belief. So there's this thing called imposter syndrome. I have a very unpopular opinion on imposter syndrome, which I will share with you now, and may make some people annoyed. So I don't believe there's such a thing as imposter syndrome. I think that imposter syndrome means a lack of self-confidence, and we've dressed it up as a society as imposter syndrome, which I just think straight away makes it harder to overcome, because we've given it a name, we've given it a syndrome name, whereas there are a lot of things that we can do to build our self-confidence. But I just think if we give it this name, it just makes it seem even harder to overcome, when really we can take these little steps and we can have more confidence in ourselves. And it's that lack of self-belief, isn't it? And maybe you are really passionate about this project and you really want to do it, but you're just like, people are going to laugh at me, I'm not going to be good enough, I'm going to get rejected. So again, lots of things that we can do to build up our self-confidence. And I think I think an important thing to do is to separate your project that you want to get started on, your business, from your self-confidence work. It is separate. We're going to do this work to build up our self-confidence, and then we're going to come back to our project, our idea, and we're going to feel more capable because we've done that work. So again, this might be one that maybe we want to deep dive into, but visualization is something that we can do. So visualization. So if it's if the thing I want to do involves public speaking, for example, and I'm really scared to do that, then I may want to visualize when I have spoken in public in the past. Maybe I haven't done public speaking to a big room, but maybe I've done it to a small group. Maybe I've done it when I was at university, and I want to go back to that. And when it went well, maybe I've only done, speaking in normal conversations, but I have been able to persuade people around to my point one time when maybe I didn't feel confident. Maybe I've been able to negotiate. Doing a visualization of a time when you did succeed, even in a smaller way, even in a minor way, of the thing that you are scared of is amazing for your brain, because you are giving it evidence. You're not just looking in the mirror and saying, I'm confident, I'm amazing at public speaking. You're giving it actual evidence that it's really hard for your brain to argue against because it happened. So visualizing, so taking yourself back to that time when maybe you gave a speech at university and really remember being back there, remember what you felt, remember what you saw, what you were wearing, that kind of thing can be super, super powerful. Also, mirror work, journaling, these kind of things. So journaling again, about these times when we have been confident, we have, so that we know it's true. I love mirror work. So mirror work is where you will pretend that something has happened that you really want to happen. Maybe you've started the project, you've got your first client and it's gone really well. And imagine that you are reading the email or you're taking the phone call. Look in the mirror. People also do this. People also record this and then watch it back. So that works too. You look in the mirror and you act as if you would if that had happened. So you've just sent a proposal to your first ever client and they've accepted and you're so excited. This is amazing. Your business has finally started, and then really overact as well. This is a little bit, you have to get past this cringe factor, but we're doing self-work. So it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be simple and straightforward to do. So we're looking in the mirror or the camera, and we are acting as if that happened, and we're like, oh my god, I'm so excited, and you're making your body feel those emotions, and your brain, your eyes are seeing yourself on screen or in the mirror actually happening. And this is such a good confidence building technique. I love mirror work. So there's a bunch of things we can do around self-confidence, but I think acknowledging that it's a self-confidence issue and that's something that we can work on, that's okay, that's good. Now that we know that, that's good. We know we can work on that, rather than calling it this imposter syndrome, which kind of sounds like such a bigger deal. Like, oh, I've got this syndrome and I have to learn how to deal with that and things. And it just makes it, I think it just makes it into a much bigger thing and more intimidating when we know there are small actions, small steps that we can start taking to build up our self-confidence quite quickly once we get going. So, overwhelm. Okay. So another reason why you might be procrastinating, might be not able to get started, is because maybe we're just thinking of this thing that we want to start, this business or whatever, as one big chunk. And we're like, oh my God, like I am going to be having to do things in this business, like buy stock, find clients. I don't know how to do those things. Those are massive things. Like maybe I need to build a website and do a million things, but I don't know how to do them. So we want to break it down into little chunks. What is one tiny step that I can do today? Is it to set up an email for my business? Is it to decide on a name for my business? What are little teeny tiny chunks that I can just, for now, ignore the bigger things, because we're going to break them down as well. Ignore the bigger things and just get started a little bit, and you'll be surprised. Once you get started a little bit, it's so much easier. I don't know, I'm doing a hamster impression. I'm imagining a hamster going up steps. Whatever works, right? So another thing you can do is the 2-minute trick for procrastination and overwhelm. So you can say, I am only going to work on this project for 2 minutes. Open the Word document, get started for just 2 minutes, set a timer, okay? And after 2 minutes, you can stop, you can walk away. That's you done for the day if you want. In reality, once we get started and we sit down and we do all our faff that we need to do, and we're sat down and we work for our 2 minutes, in reality, we likely keep going, but that's a really nice way to get your brain over the hump of the overwhelm of saying, oh, this is too big a task. Just sit down for 2 minutes and that's all you commit to. Time management follows on quite nicely for that. So maybe you are really excited to do this project. You know it's the one for you. You feel confident in yourself that you can give it the go to the best of your ability. And what was the other one? And maybe you don't feel overwhelmed because you've broken it down. You know some small steps that you can do to get started, but you're like, well, I don't have time because I'm already doing a million things. Maybe you have a full-time job, maybe you have children, maybe you have both. We don't naturally have a lot of downtime in the day to get started on new projects. And I think that's a really big reason why new projects can suffer. I didn't realise for a long time what I was doing wrong when I would set my goals for the year. So I love goal setting. I love a fresh start. And every January, love it, I do an overview of my life, my businesses, what I want to achieve during the next year. And I realised for quite a few years I was making a big mistake because I wasn't achieving those goals that I'd set, but I was missing one vital step, okay? And the one vital step is I was adding on all these new things I wanted to do, but I was not taking anything away. And had my year before been chock-a-blocked? Yes, it had. I don't know why. It was so obvious when I realised that I actually need to take some things out in order to achieve new things. So it's not a popular thing to say, but I believe that you cannot build a business, you cannot do a new goal that requires time without sacrifice, okay? There's gonna be some sacrifice there. Definitely when I was building Sugar and Sloth, there were sacrifices that I made. So I really made sacrifices in the area of friendship, spending time with friends. And, you know, of course, that's not right for everyone. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm saying you're going to need to get that time from somewhere. So maybe temporarily, there's going to be some areas where you're going to need to make some sacrifice if you want to devote time to this new project. And it's not like the trendy thing to say, because I feel like there's a kind of a zeitgeist in you know, women who talk about business where we're kind of not really meant to say that, because it can be seen as promoting hustle culture. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that I feel like I'm not. I feel like it's maybe seen as that, but I feel like I'm not saying, because I feel like hustle culture would be you have to do all the things all the time, you don't sacrifice anything. I'm saying you literally have to take some things out if you want to achieve something new. But I suppose there was a time when I felt like a massive hypocrite because I started my business Sugar and Sloth. I was working all the hours of the day. I'm not saying this is good, and actually I had a health problem that is potentially attributed to that I then had to work through on top of that. So I'm not saying this is what you should do, but yeah, so I was working a full-time job, I was running Sugar and Sloth, working all of the available hours, not getting a lot of sleep, and that is how I built my business. But it would have been a lot healthier if I had taken some things out, okay? So time management. What you can also do, so you have a real conversation. This is of course personal to everybody. I'm not saying it's the right way to do it, but there are going to be things. I don't see a way to do it, to be honest. I don't see a way to do it unless you just have naturally loads of downtime, but then you're not going to be struggling with time management. So this section would not be right for you anyway. I don't see a way to do it without taking some things out, making some sacrifices. And maybe it's not bad sacrifices, because maybe it's things that you didn't really want to be doing anyway. Maybe you felt obligated to be on the school PTA, or maybe you find some dead time where you are just scrolling or whatever and not doing anything productive, not doing anything valuable, not spending time with people. It's not particularly relaxing. So this is a big thing that I talk about in Strategy for Happy, is often we think we're doing things in our downtime to relax us, but often they're not relaxing at all. So for example, doom scrolling news, things that make us feel bad, playing video games that spike our cortisol, and we think we're relaxing, but we're not actually. We're actually adding more stress into our lives, and it's very sneaky. The media and content is very sneaky that way. Things like true crime podcasts, things like that can also have the same effect. So maybe it's things like that that we decide we're going to cut from our day. So dead time like that could be super useful. And then your best friend is time boxing. So if you want to spend 4 hours a week on this new project, time box these in your diary, set alarms in your phone. Do not move these times. These are so precious, and they are the easiest to get moved, okay? Because we feel the only person we're letting down is ourselves, and yeah, it's just really easy to break that boundary and just to, you know, oh, okay, I'll do this for you and I'll work then, and just push them around. I like to time box in the morning because then I know it will get done, as opposed to if I have a time box in the evening or later in the day, it might get pushed if I feel busy with other things like that. So for me, working out, since I had health problems and I've evaluated that and worked through that, working out is really important for me, of course, for mental health as well. It's so important. So I always like to do workouts in the morning because then I know they're going to happen. Whereas if I say I'm going to go to the gym in the evening, maybe I'll have a busy day, maybe I just won't feel like it. I am less likely to do it. I know myself, so I do it first thing in the morning. So I'd recommend having a time box in the morning if you can, to get stuff done and just really protect that precious time, because without that time you're not going to move further on the project, and you're always going to feel like you're trying to steal moments here and there, and you're never really going to be able to fully focus and have that time. So those were the 4 things that are potentially keeping you stuck: procrastination, self-confidence, overwhelm, and time management. I really hope this has been useful. Please let me know, would you like to talk about any of those in more detail, or do you have other questions about, I don't know, about life, happiness, neuroscience, business, anything like that? Because I friggin' love answering your questions, because I feel like it can be hopefully useful to you rather than me just talking about whatever I want to talk about. So I'm loving this series that we're doing at the moment, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm gonna do some art right now, some fine art painting, because that is something that I try and time box. It can be really easy. So Sugar and Sloth is my main business, and it can be really easy for that to kind of take over all of my time and not leave time for my 2 other projects, which is Strategy for Happy and the fine art side of my life. So even though I love it, I love painting, it's my favourite thing. I almost love it too much. It feels indulgent. I'm like, no, I should do these finance reports for Sugar and Sloth. Ugh. So yeah, sometimes I think that can be hard if we love it too much, but that just means we should be doing it. It's really important to protect that time. Okay, I hope that's been helpful. Let me know. Speak to you later.